Hey everyone, this is Dustin Nulf with Keller Williams Realty's the Dustin Nulf team, the Full House LLC, Pittsburgh Property Management. We're going to talk real quick today about a little bit about wealth building. We're going to talk about working smarter, not harder. So when I was in the restaurant industry, my mentor told me one time that I needed to work smarter, not harder. It took me years to figure out what that meant. I kicked it around in my head for years and never forgot about it. I still didn't forget about it to this day. And I didn't really get it until I got into the sales business. Probably it was 5 to 6 years later. And you know, I started to realize it the more I read about how to build a sales team and how to build a business and how to leverage people and time. And working smarter can be, you know, in this day and age, working smarter can be, you know, you using an app that's going to make you more productive and make you able to do your job better and quicker, right? So that's what working smarter means. It means using systems or people leverage in order to get more done in the same amount of time. All right, so that's like you want to dig a hole. Let's say you got to dig a big hole. It's going to be faster to do if you have a backhoe than it is if you're going to do it with a shovel. All right, so working smarter is working with the backhoe. And yes, when you think about that, if you want to buy a backhoe or rent a backhoe, it sure is more expensive than a shovel. But the thing is, you're going to be able to get that job done quicker. And if you're getting paid for that job, it's going to make a whole lot more sense to do it with a backhoe because you're going to make more money for your time than it is for you to do it with a shovel. All right? So that's working smarter, not harder. Another thing, we looked at this as an example elsewhere, but when we talk about people leverage, it can be as simple as this. You know, there's a great book called The 4-Hour Work Week. If you haven't read it, read it. That's going to be that talks about working smarter, not harder. It's about how you can essentially leverage out your daily tasks on any job to virtual assistants all over the world. And not only are you helping somebody else by giving them a job, but you're buying your time back, basically. So you might be able to hire somebody, a virtual assistant in the Philippines, and pay them $5 to $7 an hour to do a job that you might be getting paid $60 an hour for. And the thing is that you can pay them maybe 30 hours a week to do the majority of the job, and you can be better at your job because you're paying them, and you can buy yourself back 30 hours a week and still make a decent amount of money. So in 10 hours you can make maybe 75% of what you would if you were doing it yourself. Which is fantastic. So one of the examples we use, and we're just going to kind of play this out on the whiteboard here and show you how it works. I see these all the time, and I don't know the details of it, but I see these signs in yards along the highway and that sort of stuff, where it says "Work from home, make $30 an hour, you know, stuff in envelopes." So using that concept, let's say you call one of those up, you want to get that job, you're going to be stuffing envelopes, and they're going to pay you 50 cents per envelope that you stuff. So if you're going to get paid 50 cents per unit, and I did a lot of envelope stuffing back in the day whenever I first started my sales business, so I could tell you that, let's say in an hour I can stuff 30 envelopes. That means it takes 2 seconds per envelope, right? So in an 8-hour day, we're going to stuff 30 envelopes an hour. That's 240 units per day. Multiply that by five work days, and we got 1,200 units in a week. It's in a work week. Multiply that by 50 cents. So in this scenario, you'd get paid $600 for that week. All right. So here's the deal. So could you sign up for this and then hire somebody and pay them 25 cents per unit and have them do all this? And then you come in, they, you know, maybe they're coming to an office or coming to your house, and you're gonna meet them in the morning. You're gonna make sure that they start the work, and you're gonna check in with them every once in a while, and you're gonna invest an hour a day to make sure that they do 8 hours of work. How's that sound? So you're paying them half. Okay, so we can just take this, divide this by 2, and your employee would get paid $300 a week, and you would get paid $300 a week. Now, if you're investing only an hour a day in supervising them, you're going to work 5 hours a week. So let's divide this by 5. And that gives you a pay of $60 per hour. How's that? Your employee, on the other hand, worked 40 hours. So your employee got paid $7.50 an hour. Do you think you could find a high school student or some sort of employee who would stuff envelopes for minimum wage? Yeah, it's not a hard task. Now that looks pretty fantastic. Now let's say you only spent 5 hours doing this, so let's say for every employee that you hire that's going to do this, you have to spend another 5 hours a week, right? So if you want to work a 40-hour work week, you could have 8 employees who are stuffing envelopes. If you had 8 employees stuffing envelopes, that means you would make 8 times $300 per week. You'd make $2,400 per week. $2,400 per week. There are 52 weeks in a year. All right. You just made $124,800 by leveraging a simple task out, a simple job out to employees and paying those employees. That's working smarter, not harder. You alone would not be able to stuff the envelopes that 8 people could stuff in a week. You wouldn't be able to do it yourself without some sort of tool or something. So take a look at how that operates. That's a simple way to make 100 grand. And then the thing is next year, if you wanted to do this next year and you wanted to step it up, I bet you could supervise 16 employees doing it and double it, and really not have to take on any more overhead. That's how you can work smarter, not harder. I hope that example helped. If you like what you saw, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Please support me on my Patreon site. There's going to be a link below this video. We're going to be learning wealth building techniques such as this, as well as sales, real estate investing, and all that sort of stuff on my Patreon site. So visit it, support me if you like what you're seeing. Thanks. Have a great one.